Wow, it has been very peaceful to look at my YouTube comments recently because no one has been asking for this video. What is that video you're talking about? Well, it is the rare Switch games video. The things that you guys love and are obsessed over for some reason. For some reason, it's my most popular video series, which kind of surprises me. But y'all actually kind of calm down. Normally, you guys are emailing me, DMing me, leaving comments on videos that aren't related to the topic, being like, whoa, where's part 7 or 8? Where is it, Max? I don't care about this video. I want part 8, bro. I think we're on part 8. Coleman, what part of the video are we on? I'm gonna imagine you said part 8 because that's what I feel like. We're on part 8 of the top 10 Switch games you should buy before they are rare. Now, I do want to address something before we go into this. This is just us speculating. I've seen sometimes where people get mad that I say a certain game and they're like, bro, that doesn't make sense. Why would that? It's just us speculating. We're not trying to make these games become rare or anything like that. This video is just for you to get the opportunity to buy said game before it spikes up, which a lot of the games that we've talked about in this series did end up having that effect. So I ended up being correct. So I don't want anybody in the comments being like, Max, I trusted you, bro. What's going on here? But this is just us speculating. Don't take these videos as facts. It is purely speculating of what Switch games could be. Because the Switch game market is such an interesting market due to the fact that the Nintendo Switches uses cartridges. That's what makes these games end up being so rare because cartridges are so expensive to produce. With that being said, I feel like I have a really good top 10 list and it's a great way to start off 2025 because it's the first time I'm filming one of these videos. And if you're wondering what's wrong with my voice, I am sick right now. I am like big time sick, but I gotta stay ahead on videos. You know us, we stay on the grind even when we are sick. So without further ado, before I lose my voice, let's get right into this top 10 list. Now this is not any particular order, so I'm not saying like, oh, number 10 could be like the most rarest game ever. This is just no particular order. Y'all know the drift if y'all seen these videos before. First up, we have a game that I am very surprised came to the Nintendo Switch. It makes sense that it came to the Switch, but it should have came to the Switch at the start, in my opinion. That game is Miitopia. A lot of people don't realize this game initially started as a 3DS exclusive. It came out during the Nintendo Switch. The 3DS was getting support like crazy still. I would say it got a good 2 years of additional games. And Miitopia was one of those games that ended up on the 3DS after the Nintendo Switch came out. And everybody was asking themselves, why is this not on the Switch? This is like the perfect game to come to the Nintendo Switch. And it did come out on the Nintendo Switch in 2021, a few years later after the 3DS release. And a lot of people, I don't see talk about the fact that this game came out on the Switch. I think this game would have been a super successful game had it released alongside with the Nintendo 3DS, but the promotion for this game was not really there. And it launched at $50, which is something you don't see Nintendo do very often with the price tag. It's always a $60 game. This game kind of came out and quickly became forgotten. And because of that, I feel like when the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, a lot of people are going to want to collect the first party Nintendo games, the games that Nintendo themselves published. And Miitopia is one of those games that was published. I think this game is going to eventually skyrocket within the next few years. We were actually seeing it with Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Life used to be one of the cheapest Nintendo 3DS games. And for some reason, it's over $100 now. And this game is kind of like Tomodachi Life, but like in terms of the concept of using the Mii's, how it's used. So if ever a Tomodachi Life 2 happened on the Switch, or they brought Tomodachi Life on the Switch, I think this would skyrocket too just because of that. I think this is one to look out for, and it's still retail priced. I don't think they print this game anymore. I'm pretty sure it's out of print. Nintendo starts to put their games out of print pretty fast, I guess due to the fact that cartridges are so expensive to produce. This is one I think you should be on the lookout for. All right, this next one, we might have to put our tinfoil hats on. I know a lot of people are gonna look at me weird when I say this game. Just let me finish before y'all jump to conclusions. And there's 2 versions of this game out there in the wild, and I don't know which one's going to be the more quote unquote rare version of it. I could see both sides of this game, both versions end up being this way. So we're just gonna show both versions off, especially since I own both versions. And you guys can figure out what you think. You make the best choice out of what you guys know, and I'm gonna give you the information that I know. Starting off, we have both of the Dead Cell games. I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, what? Dead Cells? How is this? What? This is a popular game. There's no way this is gonna end up being an expensive Switch game. Now, that is very fair to think that because it is a very popular game. However, what a lot of people are not realizing is that the company that produced the physical copies of this, that published it, Merge Games, has just recently went out of business. Merge Games has done a lot of Switch titles. And Merge Games, I think most popular title was more than likely gonna be the Dead Cells physical release. Now, what makes it even more interesting is that before they closed down, and I'm pretty sure this might have been the last release they ever had out there, and that was the Dead Cells Castlevania. I think it's the same game, Dead Cells, but it's the updated version with the Castlevania content that was in there. They made a physical release of it. And I'm pretty sure this might have been their last release because it came out around the time that the news came out that Merge Games was closing down. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, but if the game already exists and it's, you know, how does that relate to it being a rare Switch game or an expensive Switch game? What's going to make it expensive? Here's where I think we could lie an issue. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch 2 has been officially revealed and it's confirmed to have backwards compatibility. And I think once the Nintendo Switch 2 is out here, a lot of these games are not gonna get re-released because Switch physical copies are so expensive, guys. The cartridges are one of the reasons that there are not many. If you ever wondered why like Capcom has a game that's digital only for the Switch, it is just due to the fact that of the Switch cartridges, it's so expensive. Everyone struggles to do Switch cartridges. I don't think they're going to re-release this game knowing the fact that it is a Switch cartridge-based system. Because of that, I don't see them wanting to re-release Dead Cells again physically for the Nintendo Switch 2, since there's already 2 versions of Dead Cells out there for the Nintendo Switch. And because of that, I think everyone's going to try to want to buy one of these games up. And I know a lot of people might be like, well, hey, they might re-release it. They did that with Celeste, The Messenger, stuff like that with the Nintendo Switch. However, the thing about those re-releases, the only reason why those games got re-released is because Limited Run did the original print of those games. So it was already hard to find those games. These games aren't necessarily, I would say, hard to find. They're still, you know, they're pricey. They're not too pricey. They're like $30 games. But it's not enough for some company like I Am 8-Bit to want to re-release the game because games like this are out there in the wild. Celeste and Messenger was really hard to find. I don't see them doing the same thing with this, and I feel like this might be the only version out there of Dead Cells to play physically on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I could be wrong. They might re-release this on Nintendo Switch 2, but I don't see that. And I think that's one of the main reasons that these games will end up being harder to find when the Switch 2 comes out. For one, Merge Games is going out of business, and 2, I think this is going to be the only way to get this game on Nintendo Switch 2 physically. Okay, I got another one that is going to have you guys be like, what? Just let me cook for a second, and then we'll decide if I'm stupid or not. Coming up, we have Farming Simulator Nintendo Switch Edition. The Farming Simulator series has a few games on the Nintendo Switch. This one is the 2017 version, which they don't say that on this version. They just call it the Nintendo Switch version. And from all the research that I've done on the Farming Simulator games that are on the Switch, this is the best one out there. In fact, they actually stopped putting some of the Farming Simulator games on the Switch over the last few years. The research that I found, there was only 2 other Farming Simulator games out there, with only one of them being a physical copy. This and the 2020 version. The rest of them were digital only. And the rest of the simulator games were not good on the Nintendo Switch. Might be a hardware thing, or the game itself might have just not been good. I don't know. But because of that, a lot of people prefer this version out there when it comes to the Nintendo Switch Farming Simulator games. And I feel like with the Farming Simulator probably coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm saying probably because I think it's weird that those games stopped coming to the Switch, Maybe they just don't sell well. I'm assuming that Farming Simulator will probably come to the Nintendo Switch 2 at some point, but I don't know if it's going to be a physical copy out there since they stopped making the physical copies for Farming Simulator. And I feel like because of that, a lot of people might be drawn into getting this because there's a lot of physical media players out there that like to own that type of stuff. And I could see this going a little bit more money than what it's already going for. It's actually kind of, I think last time I checked, $30, $40 game. That's kind of expensive considering that this is such an old release out there. I feel like a lot of people are going to be drawn to trying to get this around the time that the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. And especially if Farming Simulator doesn't come to Nintendo Switch 2, a lot of people are gonna draw to this because this is the only good version of the game out there. Next up is Fitness Boxing 3. You also might be like, what, Fitness Boxing? That's kind of a weird one. It is a weird one. This game series in general is very weird because I am trying to figure out why Nintendo publishes this one in particular. They published the original set of Fitness Boxing. Anything else with the crossovers that Fitness Boxing has had out there, Nintendo has nothing to do with it, which I'm still trying to figure out why they have anything to do with this series in the first place. But for whatever reason, Fitness Boxing 1, 2, and 3 have all been published by Nintendo, as you can see right there. A lot of people don't even realize that Fitness Boxing 3 came out because it got announced and then Nintendo said nothing about it ever again. And because of that, I could see Fitness Boxing 3 being one of the most expensive Switch titles, or at least, I don't know if expensive is the right word. I would say rare because it's one of the last titles that Nintendo is coming out with the Nintendo Switch as we jump into the Switch 2. I think a lot of people are going to want to go for the published Nintendo set of Switch games out there, and they're gonna have to eventually go to the Fitness Boxing series because Nintendo did the first 3 of those. Nintendo published so many weird things out there for the Switch. It is really weird. We pointed out in, I think, the very first video of the series that DC Supergirls was published by Nintendo. They, for whatever reason, did a lot of the Dragon Quest titles too, published by them. And if you want an even weirder fact about published Switch games that a lot of people don't know this, is that Skyrim and Doom 2016 are actually published by Nintendo, but for whatever reason, they don't have their logo on the side. If you look at the back of the game, it actually tells you that it's published by Nintendo, which I thought was very interesting. Either way, I do think a lot of the published Nintendo games are going to be things that people are going to go for because that's kind of like the key things that people go for when they're collecting for certain systems. They want to go for the Nintendo games, essentially, and this is considered kind of like a first-party game. This next one is such a weird one that I don't understand why they took it down from the eShop, but it's out. It's gone from the eShop. That game is Sega Genesis Classics. Seeing this game go up a little bit. It hasn't gone fully skyrocketed high price yet, so you can still get it at an affordable rate. But for whatever reason, Sega decided to take this game down off the eShop. I literally have no idea why. I know that Sega, I believe, recently did that too with Steam when it came to a few of the Dreamcast games out there. I don't know if Sega might be doing some giant collection soon where it's gonna have Genesis, Dreamcast, stuff like that into one thing. As of right now, the only way to get this game is if you own the physical copy for it. And a lot of this stuff that's on this, I don't believe it's on the Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online app. So depending what games you're looking for, the only way to play it right now in terms of physical format is going to be through this. And I think that this will be one of those games that people are going to really want to get soon. Luckily, as of right now, it's still an easy, affordable game to get, but I think that's going to change, especially with how the Nintendo Switch 2 is on the way. A lot of these Switch games, man, I feel like are going to go for ridiculous prices soon. Kind of like Vita prices. You know, if you've seen the PlayStation Vita, those games are ridiculously priced. This next one's also another weird one that I am surprised is off the eShop, and I'm also surprised has a physical copy out there. If you haven't heard of this game, it's the Steven Universe Save the Light combo pack that also has a OKKO Let's Play Heroes. Listen guys, that's a new Cartoon Network show for me. That wasn't around my time of Cartoon Network. I'm just saying that 2000s era and the 2000, I would say 2010 through 2015 era of Cartoon Network. Oh my goodness, guys, that was the prime time Cartoon Network. I look at Cartoon Network now and it's just Teen Titans Go. But that's besides the point. You're not here for me to rant on Cartoon Network. You're here talking about Switch games. For whatever reason, Cartoon Network decided to publish a physical Nintendo Switch game. And it's the Steven Universe Comic Pack of this. I don't know why they decided to make a physical copy of this. It's just kind of out of the ordinary for Cartoon Network to even do that in the first place, because they have given their IPs to, for example, like Limited Run or Game Mill Entertainment, for example, and they have done physical releases for them. They did this one themselves, and I don't even think they developed the game. I could be wrong about that. In fact, I think Outright Games might have done the OKKO game, but I could be wrong there. But that's besides the point. This game has kind of been $30 since the game has been released. It's never gone down. And as of recent, this is another thing that is coming off of the eShop soon. It might already be off the eShop. If you haven't seen it, Warner Brothers has been doing some stupid things to save money. If you look at the HBO Max, I know it's called Max, but it's gonna be HBO Max to me always. They are removing so many things off their streaming platform to save money for servers. They did it with a lot of Switch games and just games in general. A lot of the Adult Swim games out there are gone. You can't play them anymore if you bought them digitally. Luckily, Limited Run did a lot of physical releases of that. I believe there's just been more stupid things that they've done. They've canceled movies to write off as tax write-offs, things that have already been filmed and edited, and they're just doing stupid things right now. And the only way to play this game soon will just be this physical copy. And it's 2 games. And you know, Steven Universe, that was an extremely popular Cartoon Network IP, and it still is a very popular IP. I think this is the only Steven Universe game out there. I think a lot of people are going to be drawn into that. I think this was a Switch exclusive now that I'm thinking about it, but I could be wrong about that. Either way, this is one to look out for. It's still kind of, I wouldn't say it's expensive, but I feel like $30 for this is kind of expensive to me. But $30, it might be more now, but this is one you definitely want to be on the lookout for. The next one is Daemon X Machina. This was one of those anime games that Nintendo announced, I want to say 2018? I don't know. This game got announced and we were seeing it at like every Nintendo Direct for I want to say a full year. And people were just tired of seeing this game. People didn't want this game. When it was shown off, people were like, bro, just give me Xenoblade Chronicles X, please. Because this game looked like it was kind of inspired by that a little bit with some of the gameplay that we were seeing from Nintendo at least. And the game finally came out. It was not successful. And for some reason, Nintendo published this game. That's another thing that we talked about, Nintendo published games. But this was not their IP from my understanding. Well, it isn't their IP because at the time of this recording, I'm pretty sure they just announced a Daemon X Machina 2 is coming out. So they are trying to make this into a series. And if that takes off, the original release for Nintendo Switch is going to go up in value, in my opinion, to be a hard thing to find because people are going to want to own this. And this is the only physical copy out there. I believe they did put Daemon X Machina on PC a few years ago, and they've done weird crossovers with Daemon X Machina. I think there's like Witcher 3 content out there. Point is, this is going to, at least whoever's developing, I think it's Marvelous Marvelous is trying to make this into a franchise. And there are people out there that really do like this game, so maybe when Daemon X Machina 2 comes out, that will be something that really takes off. I don't know. Either way, this is one I think y'all should be on the lookout for, just due to the fact that Nintendo published it, and this is the only physical copy of the game out there, I'm pretty sure. I feel like I might have heard this came on PlayStation 2 later, but I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. This is one you should be on the lookout for. This next one is very surprising to me because the physical copy had not been out that long, but I am seeing retailers try to get rid of this game. It's been going on super clearance is what I would call it, and that's a sign that this game is going out of print. And I'm pretty sure it is out of print, which is just, once again, surprising. But I guess considering how expensive Switch games can be in terms of making that cartridge, it's not surprising. That's how this stuff gets out of print so fast. If you ever have wondered why certain things are so expensive for the Switch is just due to the fact that it is that cartridge and the weird ways that you have to order cartridges with Nintendo's rules. Nintendo has specific rules compared to like PlayStation and Xbox when it comes to those physical games, but that's besides the point. Next one is Dave the Diver. Like I said, if you are at your local Walmart right now or Target, this game is on like super clearance right now. I'm pretty sure I saw Target was selling this for like $8. Walmart was selling it for $12. They're trying to get rid of it off of their mod, which is a sign that they're done making this game. I've also noticed that GameStop has been putting this game on sale pretty frequently. It really just comes across that they're trying to get rid of this game, which is, again, very surprising because the physical copy has not even been out at the time of this recording a full year yet. But Dave the Diver is a IP that continues to get more and more popular. It's doing crossovers with like Godzilla, I believe. This is a game that's going to continue being more popular. It is going to get sequels. I think it won Game of the Year for like Best Indie at one point, which is weird because this actually isn't really an indie game. It depends how you look at it. There's a great debate if this is considered an indie game. However, this is a pretty big deal to have this game, and I think a lot of people are going to want to get this, especially if the Switch 2 comes out and they don't make an updated physical copy of Dave the Diver. And just in general, this is a game you should own right now. This super cheap game, look for it right now while you still can. This next one is going to be one that might throw people off a little bit. They might be like, huh, that just doesn't make sense. Allow me to cook a little bit with this one. This is also one of those that I'm with the tinfoil hat here, but just hear me out. Next one is the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1. This is a game that is definitely out of print because I've noticed that Walmart, Best Buy, Target, they don't have this game anymore. GameStop sometimes has it, but every time I've gone into GameStop, it's more than likely a pre-owned copy of the game. Now, you might be like asking yourself, okay, sure, it might be out of print, but it's Metal Gear. They clearly made tons of those. I don't know about that, guys. Konami is obviously the one that did this physical release. It's their IP, but Konami does not like making physical copies. Most of their recent stuff has all been going to limited run when it comes to the Switch. Limited run has done so many Konami projects, like Castlevania, for example. You would think that Konami would want to do that, but no, they have literally been doing all of this stuff. The new Contra game, yeah, that was done by limited run. I bring this up because Konami does not want to spend the money on the Switch cartridges, and because of that, this went out of print very fast. However, it's Metal Gear, it's still an easy thing to find right now, but as we jump into the Switch 2, we're probably going to get the announcement of the Volume 2 collection, and I think a lot of people are going to try to get this once Volume 2 comes out, because we know the existence of Volume 2. They just haven't officially announced it. A developer of Konami confirmed it. But the point is, it's crazy that Konami actually did a physical release out there, but you can see that they did not put the money into the physical release because I don't even think all of one is on the cartridge. This is like a major download if you buy the physical copy out there. They did nothing to this in terms of, I think it has one, I think, but you can see they did not put the effort into compressing it, into making it all onto one cartridge, because they didn't want to invest the money into it because of how expensive Switch stuff is. And I think that's going to be one of the reasons why this ends up being one of those things that is going to be hard to find. Our final one for today is going to be Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Arcade Collection. Fighting Collection Arcades Classics. First off, I want to say that the Fighting Collection Arcades Classic thing, that's got to be like the worst logo, in my opinion, that Capcom's ever made. They've been pushing that whole thing with all their other collections that have recently been coming out. You might be asking yourself, why am I putting this here? A few reasons. The Switch version, when this was announced, there was not supposed to be a Switch physical copy out there. It was just going to be PlayStation and that was it. But there was like riots on the streets, bro. Actually, there wasn't riots on the streets, but on Twitter, there was riots when they did not announce a Switch physical copy. At the time, they had a physical copy, but it was exclusive to the UK, I think, at the time. But then people were like, bro, Capcom, where's the physical copy? And then Capcom was like, okay, we will do the physical release. And then it was announced, but it was originally announced that it didn't have everything on the cartridge. Then people were even more upset, and then it later got announced that it was all gonna be on cartridge. So you could tell that Capcom did not want to put the level of effort in making a physical Switch release of this game. In fact, I think it's very interesting that this came out on the Switch, let alone that this has a physical release in general, if you guys know the history between Marvel and Capcom. And because of that history, I'm still surprised these games are out there in terms of physical media, because it would have made sense that it just remained a digital only game for all consoles, because eventually this is going to get delisted again, and we'll have the same stuff happen that made Marvel vs. Capcom 2 so expensive on the PS2. And if you guys are asking me, what are we talking about here? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was on Xbox 360, I want to say PlayStation 3 at one point. They were digital only though. And when they got delisted, it was a few years because Capcom lost the rights, I think, to the Marvel stuff. Eventually they got them back, but they never released Marvel vs. Capcom 2 again. And that's what, the games were already expensive, but that really skyrocketed those games for the PS2, Dreamcast, when you couldn't play them on current day consoles. And now you can again, but I'm telling you, 5-6 years from now, we're gonna run into the same issue, and then everything with Marvel vs. Capcom is gonna go up. Hopefully they make a new game, since there's been so much hype about this coming out in today's consoles, but Capcom, hopefully they know how to make it this time and actually put the X-Men, not do what they did with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That was crazy, that they tried to do a game without the X-Men. I mean, look, they got Cyclops as the main cover guy. I mean, X-Men kind of was the main thing when it came to Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm pretty sure it was X-Men and Street Fighter that started it, and then we later got Marvel vs. Capcom. That's just a max rant that you guys don't care about. Guys, those are the 10 Switch games that I highly recommend you look into buying before they become super rare. Once again, we're just speculating here. If you guys have not seen the rest of the series, check it out, because I'm sure you guys are in the comments, you're gonna be like, bro, why didn't you mention this game? This game is going to be expensive. What are you doing? There's a good chance that game have already been mentioned in the last few videos. But if you guys do have a suggestion of what game should be on this list, post it. Give me reasons why. A lot of people like to speculate in the comments of what's going to be rare. And some of y'all just like to tell me, Max, you're an idiot. There is no way this game is going to be a rare Switch title. Let's hear all of it in the comments down below. Guys, I don't know when the next one's going to come out for this, because we are entering the Switch 2 era soon. So this series could be done soon. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll still do this with the Switch 2. It's just kind of weird to still be doing videos like this when the Switch 2 comes out. But we could be entering the era of these videos being done. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like. As you can see, I'm slowly dying here. Backslash that subscribe button. We want to hit 20,000. At some point. I would like to hit higher before the end of the year, but let's shoot for 20,000 by the end of the year. Share the video, friends. Check out the Twitter, Discord, Instagram. Become a Monado Marine. $5 a month helps out the channel tremendously. It really does. Guys, we have a giant announcement coming soon, bro. I keep hyping it in the other videos, but we genuinely have a giant announcement coming very soon, and I can't wait to share it. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. I gotta feel better because I'm going to New York, but by the time this video comes out, I probably already did the New York trip. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Oh my gosh, bro, my voice right there.